Life is good in Hashem. Hashem loves you all. You are Creation 13. I'm Adam Bay, and today I want to say Happy New Year. Actually, the New Year started a couple days ago on 9/11. But also today marks the um, day of the new moon, and that's very impactful right there. Because, like I said, every new moon um, starts your creation over again. Starts your manifestation period over again. So, like I said, you repeat the same month over and over and over again. And then you can expand upon that, but that's not what this video is about. So, since today is a new moon, 2 days ago was the new year. And I've explained this before in my previous videos years past. So, why is 9/11 the new year? If you look up the Ethiopian calendar, around that time frame, it is the new year. It is the end of the old and the beginning of the new, or the Anu, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the reason why 9/11 is so significant, why it is the new year every year, um, and it repeats itself, is in 2001, and this is what I'm basing this on. You can do further research and learn a lot more about 9/11. But in 2001, the event that took place in 2001 created a time rip. And what is a time rip? A time rip means that it was that the timeline was created a ripple effect, and it allowed it to split itself. And what I mean split itself is the powers that be, the elite, created this rip to store energy to help them manifest what they want. And if you're well aware, your emotions or your persona, which I still need to make a video about, your persona creates and manifests your reality or someone else's reality based on energy. And of course, if you're in a depressed emotional state, you give out more energy, and basically, your your life your life essence is depleting, and somebody else is taking your energy. And since 9/11 is so well known, this allows people who know how to harness energy, they can steal it from you, and not to spread fear or anything, but since all these 9/11 victims have pictures, people can use the pictures. And since the powers that be have, or the AI system has, the full list of the victims and the family members and anybody else that's connected to, when they are in sad or in depressed state, they're giving the energy out. And then this is where the whole underground facility comes in. They can take that energy, harness it, put it in that time rip, and then they can manifest things. Now, here's a catch. If you're not celebrating that event or even pay attention to it, your essence isn't going to be a part of that timeline. That's something to really um, be aware of, because we all experience different timeline shifts, and I've explained this before. So if you're not part of that gloom, doom, and time stuff, then it's not going to affect you. But if you are part of it, then you're going to go through the trials and tribulations that the elite wants you to go through. Um, and this is where things get a little complicated, but hopefully it'll make sense to you guys. So with the timeline shifts, they've been doing it every single year in remembrance of 9/11, the victims, blah blah blah, of them stealing and harnessing your energy. This is where you need to be aware that it's a new year, and you need to start your journey. Before 9/11 happens, which is why I wanted to make this video way earlier. Before 9/11 happens, you got a 10-day period to cleanse yourself, let go of what you experienced from last September, from last September to this September. Let go, learn, grow, and develop yourself. So then when this new year starts, just a new year starts, um, you'll be able to grow into a new person again. And like I said, you still every month is a new year anyways, but because 9/11 has two timeline rips, you have to get into that mindset and you have to harness that energy. You have to harness your energy within those 10 days. And like for me personally, it was a time of relaxing. My being told me I need to relax, let go, cleanse, sleep, restore myself. And that's what I did. And but you can only do that if you are at peace with everything in your being. And that means you have to let everything go, let your personas go. It's like I said, I need to make a video on that. So with that being said, why is there two 9/11s and what's the importance of them? If you're in the New Year timeline frame of you don't have any memory of that event that happened and you're just experiencing and harnessing and realizing that you're in a 1 year uh, repeat cycle, okay, a 1 year repeat cycle. This allows you to transform and heal yourself every year. And as you advance, 1 month becomes a year. This is why it says nobody knows the time, the hour, the day, blah blah blah. The hidden symbolism is you need to figure out on how energy works, and I've explained this before in a previous video. So anyways, September to September is your repeated monthly cycle. Now those in the 2001 time rep change, January to January is their repeated yearly cycle. So you got to get out of the January and flip it to September. And this is going to allow you to be into the phase. I'm trying not to ramble on here, but it allows you to go into that phase where you realize that you are in control in terms of your energy and what you surround yourself with. You're not so focused on what's happening or what is being told outside your reality. Like I said, if you're in your town, you have no idea what's happening around you unless if you go visit there. You really don't know. So that's why you don't need to really worry about it. You shouldn't have to worry about anything anyways, but you should not have a mindset of what's going on outside your town or city unless if you need to be there. So, so what I want to talk about, because I'm going to lose my train of thought here if I don't focus on this. So when you're in this new set in 9/11, you need to really start focusing your intent and starting your story. A lot of people say you need to write down what you do. Now, me personally, I don't really write down everything I do every day because to me it's a past tense. Now, will it help others if someone reads it? Maybe, but it just depends on your lifestyle. Because mine personally I don't know. To me personally, my life is a lot different than everybody else's. I view things differently. So even if I wrote the stuff I experienced down, it wouldn't make any sense. Because I use psychology and stories within stories every day. So if I wrote the stuff that I experienced down, it would not make any sense. So what I do is I set goals or intents of what I want to do every month. This is why I do the new moon cycle. You start your intent, your will and intent on the new moon. You got 10 days to get that will and intent out. And you want to continue it, but it's going to start manifesting after 10 days. And then by the full moon, you will see your manifestation take place. and then your manifestation will fade and be part of that timeline, and then it starts again. So with September to September, you're creating your story book. So this is basically going to be a book you're going to write through this 12-month period again, September to September, or 13-month. And that's why I said you can't really say September 11th is a year date. It's just like I said, it's a time rip. Somebody created that time rip, so now 9/11 is a new year every year. So yeah. So anyways, what I've been trying to figure out here is creating stories. And I was kind of skimming through the Bible because I got some stuff I'm going to read on here. But I found something interesting because, like I said, this is a spell book. A Bible is a spell book. And I said this in previous videos. You can do tons of research, no matter what kind of religion or in that kind of category. Each book is a spell book because what it is a story, a book of life. September to September is your book of life. If you're in the other timeline, January through January is your book of life. It repeats itself until you learn from your repeated cycle, and then you move on from there. So I found this rather interesting because I was trying to find some research for the rest of the stuff I'm going to talk about. But the very end of Revelations, it says right here, Christ is coming, basically. It says Jesus, but, or Yeshua. So Christ or Yeshua is coming. Behold, I am coming soon. Blessed is he who keeps the words of the prophecy in this book. And blessed is also a curse. But you can do research on that. John, let's see. I, John, am the one who heard and saw these things. And when I had heard and seen them, I fell down to worship at the feet of the angel who had been showing them to me. But he said to me, do not do it. I am a fellow servant with you and with your brothers, the prophets, and of all who keep the words of this book, worship God or Gad, to worship the invokers. Then he told me, do not seal, or you can say Hashem. Either way. Then he told me, do not seal up the words of the prophecy of this book, because the time is near. Let him who does wrong continue to do wrong. Okay, and that's a keynote. Let him do wrong. Let him who does wrong continue to do wrong. Repeated cycle. January, September, September. Let him who is vile continue to be vile. Let him who does right continue to do right. And let him who is holy continue to be holy. And that is a very key thing, because book of life. The book of life. Behold, I am coming soon. I am. Okay, it does not specify who it is, just because the title is what it is. Down here it just says, behold, I am coming soon. Will and intent. I am. My reward is with me. My reward is with me. And I will give to everyone accordingly to what he or she has done. What he or she has done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. The book of life. You have a beginning chapter, you have an end chapter. I, Yeshua, or Christ, have sent my angels to give you this testimony for the churches. Now here's a kicker, and I'm going to get to it in just a sec. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright morning star. Okay, check this out. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright morning star. Now what is the bright morning star? Lucifer. And what is Lucifer? Let me make sure I get this right. I'm pretty sure it's Venus, but let me make sure. so much contradictions in this thing. It's funny. Anyways. Bingo. Alright, so Lucifer. Yes, so planet Venus. And the Lightbringers, okay? So that's the kicker right there. I, Christ, Yahshua, Jesus, have sent my angels to give you this testimony for the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright morning star. So Christ is claiming himself to be Lucifer, the bright morning star, which is Venus. And there you go. And why people don't see that, I don't know. And Christians and them will deny that. But that is it. So, that right there tells you that this is a Luciferian energy right here. Okay, Luciferian energy. The Spirit and the bride say, "Come," and let him who hears say, "Come." Whoever is thirsty, let him come, and whoever wishes, let him take the free gifts of the water of life. I'm not going to say nothing about that. That's kind of jacked up. I warn everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds anything to them, which stuff has been added and deleted many times, translations and everything else. So you got to do research. God will add to them, which is invoke. The words will add to them the plagues described in this book. If anyone takes words away from this book, which has already happened anyways, of prophecy, God will take away from him his share in the tree of life and in the holy city, which are described in this book. He who testifies to these things says, "Yes, I am coming soon." He who testifies to these things says, "Yes." Okay, so those who follow this book to a T, they're always going to say, "Yes, he's coming soon." The grace of the Lord, which is the authority, Jesus, Yahshua, or Zeus, Jesus is Zeus, be with God's people. But basically why I read that is because it's setting the stone for this book of life. Somebody's wanting this to happen. The Luciferian energy is trying to be brought forth. And Luciferian is also Lightbringer, the light workers, things of that nature. They are dwelling in the Venus energy. They are worshiping that Pacific planet. Okay? And Saturn is Satan. And, that's what the Muslims worship. So there's a clash between worshiping Saturn, which is Satan, and Lucifer, which is the Venus planet, which is the Venus energy. So that's what is taking place on this planet, is the Venus energy and the Saturn energy. Okay, and that's what the religions are based off of, Saturn and Venus. Now, if you go to our ancient ancestors, they explain that they studied the stars and studied the planets. And then because of those studies, they end up becoming into religious worshiping tools that as generations went on, those planets created stories, which I said previous video. Hopefully this video is going to make sense to you guys. It all connects into one thing. So with that being said, for me reading that, this is why it's so important for you to realize that you are writing your story right now. You're 2 days into your story and what you're going to create until next September. At least until you break out of that system. Which, trust me, it takes a long time to break out of that system. It does. So, what I decided to do was kind of give you Sakai some, let's see, I'm trying to think which one to read. Because pole shift comes into this, and manifestation comes into this. But I guess I'll go ahead and read these two. So, like I said, I've made a video about Anu energy and Apsu energy. Very good video, check it out. But I'll go ahead and read Anu again. in Sumerian mythology, Anu was a sky god, the god of heaven, the lord slash authorities of constellations, king of gods, spirits, and demons. Now, gods are deities. God translates into Gad. So this is why you say the Most Highs. So I'll go ahead and reread this so you kind of get the right translation. So in Sumerian mythology, Anu was a sky. Blah blah blah. Holy cow! I lost my concentration. Somebody's not wanting me to say something. Anyways, the Most Highs. In Sumerian mythology, Anu was the sky of the Most Highs. Oh, you can't even read it that way. Alright, anyways, I'll just read it like this and you'll know what I'm talking about. Was a sky god, the god of heaven, the authority of constellations, king of gods, spirits, and demons, and dwelt in the highest heavenly regions. It was believed that he had the power to judge those who had committed crimes, and that he created the stars as soldiers to destroy the wicked. His attribute was the royal tiara. His attendant and minister of state was the god Labrat or something like that. But this is why, I constantly say that we're all star seeds, is because we all come from the stars and we're all here to keep this creation going. And this is where it falls into the Anu story, is because we are sent down here to keep creation going. And those who are wicked want to destroy creation, which is what you're seeing right now on Earth. So we're all star seeds. We're all come from the stars. And it says that from our ancestors. Let's see. Anu existed in cosmology as a dome that covered the flat Earth. Okay. Anu existed in Sumerian cosmology as a dome that covered the flat Earth. Outside of this dome was the primordial body of water known as Tiamat, not to be confused with the subterranean Apsu. I clicked in Tiamat, I didn't really get anything on it. In Sumerian, the designation An was used interchangeable with the heavens, so that in some cases it's doubtful whether under the term the god of An or the heavens is being denoted. The Akkadians inherited An as the god of heavens from the Sumerian as Anu. In the Akkadian cuneiform, something like that, the Dinger character may refer either to Anem or whatever. And see, this is where stories take place. But the main point is Anu existed in Sumerian cosmology as a dome that covered the flat Earth. Outside of this dome, okay, so outside of the Earth, Anu existed. But Anu, if you read, is everything, or Hashem. And then it talks about the water. And it says not to be confused with Apsu, but like I said, there's not really much on Tiamat, but Apsu energy is spiritual energy. It dwells underneath the earth. So you go into Apsu. Apsu also can be called Inger, or literally means Ab is ocean and Zu is deep, or the abyss. Was the name of the primeval sea below the void space of the underworld, the abyss. Underworld can also represent Ker, and the earth, Ma, above. So Ker is underneath, underworld, and earth is Ma, Mama, Mama, above. It may also refer to fresh water from underground aquifers that was given religious fertilizing quality, which is called Apsu energy, or synergy. And I talked about that in my video before. And then it creates the story of Apsu. So you can look at both those, but the point being I'm reading this is you got the Anu energy around the whole world, okay? And already said around the whole universe, or this universe itself. And then you got the Apsu energy, which dwells deep in the underworld, okay? Deep within the world, or deep within the Earth's core. So, my guides, ancestors, told me to look up pole shifts and manifestation. So we'll go ahead and read this pole shift thing. And this pole shift is going to, you need to have this with an open mind. This is what it came up with. Hopefully, oh yeah, you can see it. Alright, I flipped the camera so you should be able to read it now. But basically, I looked at the pole shifts and I wrote the human body down and I wrote the earth down, both its core. Now, it was kind of hard for me to really estimate on what the core is. To me, the core is right here. But if you talk to other people, the core is actually right here. And this is more of the center of your being is your stomach. So I kind of wrote different energy sources here, here, and here, which can also represent 3 bodies, which would be the mind, the spirit, and the physical body. Mind, spirit, and physical body. And that could be what my ancestors tell me. I don't know. So I just wrote down what they showed me. So anyways, I'll go ahead and read on pole shift. And this video is going to end up being long, so hopefully you guys stick with me, because I guarantee you'll learn something. So with the pole shifts is magnetic, and that's why I looked it up, was magnetic pole shifts, because we all have the magnetic field surrounding us. So pole shift is a shift in magnetic poles. It's one of the more common accepted theories across the world. However, this is not to be confused with those that speak of a geographic pole shift. Even though these events can occur at the same time, they actually have quite different effects on Earth. Because of this, we will address these events separately as a magnetic pole shift and a geographic pole shift. And this can also be said with your body. You have a magnetic sphere around your body, have a magnetic shield around your body, and your physical body can also have your geological shifts. You know, you have your emotions and your personas that shift and change your reality. So your magnetic field changes and your geographic physical body changes. Same thing. Scientists have now concluded that Earth's magnetic poles do flip 180 degrees in what's commonly called a pole shift. There are many theories as to the frequency of the shifts in magnetic poles, which range anywhere from 10,000 year period to almost 800,000 year period. Research into these magnetic reversals events has come through analysis and measurements of the magnetic field of rock that are located on the surface and within Earth's crust. These measurements shows that the magnetic field of some rock are exactly the opposite of the current magnetic poles. So therefore your physical body and the magnetic field are separate. By carbon dating back these rocks, scientists have attempted to determine when the last magnetic pole shift may have occurred, because history was lost and no one really knows when that pole shift occurred. But there are signs. The common accepted theory is that Earth's electromagnetic field, as well as the magnetic north and south poles, are created from either the spinning of Earth's core or the mantle, the lava under Earth's crust. Which, if you look into the hollow Earth, there is no magma in the middle. Magma or lava is around the whole world. The magma, the lava, is Earth's blood. It's what keeps that blood flowing. Also with the oil is Earth's blood. They coincide to keep things going, to keep things, keep the Earth alive. Under Earth's crust, because also I did learn something new too, is that the deeper you get into the Earth, it turns into ice, and that's something that they just learned not too long ago. And now their next step for humanity is learning that the Earth is hollow underneath and has its own sun. But anyways, those are just theories, so try not to confuse it. So anyways, are created from the hot molten lava. This means that the direction and speed of the spinning magma are are directly responsible for the position of the magnetic north and south poles, as well as the strengths of Earth's electromagnetic field, which is false, but humanity hasn't discovered that yet. Magnetic field and distortion is caused by will and intent. Basically, the life of the Earth causes the Earth to shift and mutate. Because we're all one, we're all interconnected. So all the souls on this Earth causes that pole shift. And again, that's just going to be a theory because humanity's just not there yet. So anyways, this also means that magnetic pole flip reoccurs or requires a magnetic field of Earth to become opposite in relationship to the Earth's crust. That means it has to be the complete opposite. In other words, either the magnetic pole moves 180 degrees while the Earth's crust remains in the same position, or Earth's crust moves 180 degrees while the magnetic pole remains the same. That means that something stays still while the other one moves. One of these two events must have occurred in order to support the evidence of a magnetic pole shift in Earth's past history. Scientists claim to have proven Earth's magnetic poles have reversed positions in past history by measuring the directions of the magnetic field in rock strata running opposite to the current magnetic poles. Since Earth's magnetic poles are created by the spinning magma under Earth's crust, then at the same point in past history, the magma must have been spinning in opposite direction in relation to Earth's crust. There are two theories that consider how the magma crust. I don't even know how they're getting this magma crust thing. Because magma flows in one direction. There is absolutely no way. There is no way that the magma would shift. That means that magma would be alive or be a organism sort of an intelligent life. There's no way that the magma could flow between there. Unless the magma has copper and gold and stuff like that in it, if that's the case, then magnetic field will also be its own form of intelligence or life form. I don't know why scientists never thought about that, but there's no way that could be very true, because how would the crust move in separate directions? That makes no sense. So anyways, keep going. Both theories methods are based on the Earth crust displacement theory of the late history professor Charles Hapgood. According to Hapgood's theory, Earth's crust acts like a solid disk that can slide over the more liquid characteristics of the mantle under the crust. Although we consider Earth's crust to be a non-movable solid mass, in reality the crust is a rigid mass between thick floating over the more viscous magma under the crust. So basically, it's where we live at, any land, is connected underground and it shifts constantly. We're all floating rocks, and that's just the gist of it. Basically, this world is going to turn into a water planet eventually. In order for Hapgood's theory to explain a magnetic pole shift, one or two events must occur. Earth's crust slides over the mantle under the crust, rotates 180 degrees from its current position, stabilizing in the new position. And when there's earthquakes, I can see the templates shifting. And I guess that's where the lava would come into place, because earthquakes are connected to lava. So I can see that happening. But I would say that with this theory, that would make magma, lava, a living organism. Could be Apsu energy. And maybe that's what they're referring to. Maybe Apsu energy is really lava that's underneath us. Because if lava is constantly changing, or the structure of the earth, that makes sense. Maybe lava is the Apsu energy. And then Anu would be the magnetic field. And that's what I wrote down here. I'll show you a little bit. So Apsu energy is magnetic field. Oh, excuse me. Anu energy is magnetic field. Apsu energy is a lava field. So quite interesting. All right. So, anyways, they just talk about pole shifts. All right. Therefore, if a magnetic pole shift were to occur rapidly, then Earth's crust would also reverse rotational direction rapidly. That means that the Earth would have to go backwards. That would be a massive displacement of Earth's crust. And and if there's any sun impacts, the oceans would move and all that. And that's what we know. So I think that's about it. People standing on the surface of the Earth don't feel it and often don't even realize the Earth's rotation means the surface and everything on it is moving constantly. Earth's circumference as the equator is approximately 40,000 km and makes one full rotation every 24 hours. This means that the surface of the Earth is in constant motion, traveling at an average ground speed of approximately 1,767 kilometers, or 1,035 miles at the equator. Of course, these ground speeds are reduced significantly as you move away from the equator. When you imagine Earth's crust slowing down abruptly and eventually coming to a stop, you can begin to see the potential of a disaster of cataclysmic proportions. So basically, if everything stopped, it would be basically if you're traveling in a car and then all of a sudden you just slam on the brakes. It's going to cause a big old ripple effect. And that's more likely what has happened with the Earth before, why there was water shifting and everything else. Ancient cultures describe a period of 3 days where the sun does not rise or set. This could mean the process of Earth's crust slowing down and reversing direction. Even if the slowdown is somewhat gradual, there is still the pure physics of so much mass in motion. Have you ever seen anything traveling slow down quickly? Probably not, since most man-made objects can't travel that fast. Even the speed of sound is only about. In other words, this would be even more dramatic than trying to quickly slow down a jet traveling at Mach 1. These centrifugal forces created by this rotational produce an equilibrium or balance between the borders of water and land. And if you've ever experienced your equilibrium getting off balance, you can fall over, feel dizzy, disoriented. That would kind of give you the idea of what it would be like if the Earth switched. It would throw you off. This is why it's so important to maintain your magnetic field around you. So if everybody else's equilibrium went off, you would still be focused and intact. From above the, let's see, from above the next one. If the Earth crust displacement theory is correct, then Earth's crust would stop rotation and then start rotating in the opposite direction, or in the east to west direction. Which, like I said, the lava would have to shift. So it's called the ocean to move farther inland on the western shores and create new coastlines which are even farther inland. Again, which has happened before. That's why we have so many underwater civilizations. Both the stopping and reversing actions will create massive tsunamis, and they move inland on all western blah blah blah. This theory also explains why Western and U.S. and Europe are mostly underwater. Why Western U.S. and Western Europe are mostly underwater on the future world maps. This also provides a very scientific understanding of why the Western U.S. has been under the ocean several times, why there is a Great Salt Lake nearly on the current west coast of the U.S., and how the Grand Canyon has been created. From this data, it can easily be seen that the dialogue of ancient literature and the Western U.S. could be explained simply by the reversal and rotation of Earth's crust. Now imagine what would happen to Earth's crust during such event. This gives you the meaning to the word. And blah blah blah. So I think that's about it. So many people are already aware that scientists have been tracking the movements of the magnetic pole for decades. The below graph shows scientific proof that the magnetic north and south poles have been moving for over 100 years, and that the annual movement of the north magnetic pole is becoming exponential. Although often described as a normal anomaly that Earth goes through regularly, the fact is that these movements is abnormal within any cyclical event that has been witnessed or measured by modern science. Scientific and practical theories suggest that this could be the beginning of Earth's next magnetic pole shift, although the estimates on how long such a shift might take is still only speculation. From this graph, it can be seen the North Magnetic Pole is moving towards Russia, while the South Magnetic Pole is moving towards South Africa. Whether this is the beginning of a complete magnetic shift pole or not will likely be disputed until the event actually occurs. In addition, last year's data has been made available. The pole movement from the year 2005. This suggests that there may be a reason why the government of the world are not releasing data past 2005. Is it possible the magnetic pole movement after 2005 would cause concern the government would rather avoid? Something else worth mentioning, and which may be significant, is that the North Magnetic Pole has moved about 12 degrees latitude and 8 degrees longitude, which is further from the South Magnetic Pole. And so on and so forth. So anyways, hopefully I didn't lose you guys. How long is this video reading? Wow. So with that being said, hopefully I didn't lose you guys. The main point I read that is understanding why we constantly tell you that you need to keep your magnetic field up and keep it clear and clean, as well as maintaining your physical body. You know, if you have a stomach ache or any aches in your body, that means that your template, your physical body, is shifting, and it's shifting on its own pace, and it could be shifting with everybody else's, or it may just be shifting with just yourself. And you wanna keep your own shifting within yourself. You know, this is why you want to keep your magnetic field up. If your magnetic field depletes, then you're going to start shifting with everybody else. And this is where everything is energy based. Everything that flows through you is that absolute energy. And that's what I wrote here, is that, you know, you got to view that you have the absolute energy around you. And then you got the absolute energy within you. You know, when you look within yourself, you know, you're looking deep within the underworld of yourself, deep within you. And this is where you have many doors, and I did a video about that and wrote on a little figure with many, many doors, and you got to travel through those many doors, open them, take care of what's in that door, which is a persona, and then you'll be good. Because if you have demons within you, it's going to create an imbalance or throw off your equilibrium, and it's going to make your magnetic field change and shift. So from what you want to manifest, it's going to happen because your magnetic field is shifting and changing based more on your physical body instead of your spiritual body. And that's the same with the earth. The earth relies on the beings that live on the planet to help maintain that magnetic field. But as things get more chaotic and more of humanity, because animals themselves are here to help aid in that magnetic field, but it's up to humanity, since they have the personas, to generate and keep that field going, keep that magnetic field going in a positive direction, not a negative direction. But as things change, the shifting of the earth will constantly shift and change too. And if the world gets destroyed, my theory is the reason why the pole shifts change is because the Most Highs come back um, and redo it. I watched something. I don't remember what it was. Um, what was it? I don't remember if it was Transformer cartoon or what. I think it was. I think it was Transformers. But yeah, the world got destroyed, and they were with some kind of a deity or god, and they reversed everything, and the world came back into one piece. And that could be what happened here. Um, this is where you get the saying, Earth repeats itself uh, over and over again. Um, but I don't know how that would affect the souls. Maybe that's where you get trapped here, huh? Is because it constantly reshifts itself. Um, but hard to say. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all the theories. But the point being for this video is to realize that every September 11th is a new year. And so instead of looking at a new year, it's ANU year, a new year. A hidden symbolism of your magnetic field. You need to maintain your magnetic field through this period, September through September. Keep that magnetic field strong and intact. Because if you don't have a magnetic field, you know what's going to happen to you? Your physical body, and I'm sure you've heard this already, your physical body basically, if you don't have a magnetic field, it's going to do this. Oops, there goes my magnets. But yeah, your body will basically implode because of the gravitational pull. You'll end up shooting out and imploding on yourself. So, anyways, hopefully that makes sense. I'll see what my magnets sound like. So yeah, so that's why it's so important to keep your magnetic field up, because that's what's going to happen. Is if your magnetic field is gone, you're just going to implode. This is why it's important to eat right and keep that synergy going within your body. And the more that Apsu energy is healthy, you'll be all right. Just like with the magma, if as long as it's being fed right, you're good. And basically what I mean by that is the synergy of the souls on Earth are feeding the Earth. Everything will be good to go. And this causes timeline shifts as well. Which is why if you're on the September timeline, you should be seeing less and less people. Like literally, no matter where you go, there isn't very many people around like there used to be. However, if you're surrounded by people constantly, you're having to fight crowds and things of that nature, then you're living in the January to January time shift where the majority of all the souls are. The less people you see, that means you're on the right track. And that's why it's also important to get out of them big cities, because those big cities are trapped in the January to January timeline shift. And eventually they'll be gone. So yeah, so hopefully this video makes sense. Like I said, it's a lot of information. I want to talk about manifestation, but I think I'll go ahead and end this video on that. But I can go ahead and read this a little bit, and then I'll end it. It's pretty long, but anyways, I'll just kind of read a little bit of it. So manifesting timeline shifts, or what some people think is magic, but really isn't. Timeline shifts are not really magical, though they may seem to work magic when you use them as a tool for navigating everyday reality. Timeline shifts are possible between an infinite number of potential reality threads that spin off each person's present reality thread. These... hold on a sec. Alright, excuse me. Alright, timeline shifts are possible between an infinite number of potential reality threads that spin off each person's reality thread. These potentials are alternate realities energetically already in existence. We are able to activate an alternate thread into our physical reality Upsu energy, and begin traveling along these threads through awareness, intention, focus, and action. By using this process for creating reality, you are able to scan the potential reality threads accessible within each moment. Choose the thread most aligned with your desired outcome and shift to this new life track. This is where September comes into play. You begin things anew, and then you set your goals and what you want to accomplish. You basically, if you're the book writer, you're writing your book, you've already created the beginning, the middle, and the end. You already know what the end is. You already know what your set goal is. You set a goal, that's going to be your story. And you stick with it. That's why it says do not get yourself distracted, because then you won't get to your end book. Signs that your present timeline is not working. Using the timeline shift process is one way to step past old ways of creating and experiencing reality. One need not perceive in joyless or unfulfilling timelines for decades trying to change realities that remain firmly in place. One need not swim against a constant tide of obstacles to realize the visions they hold, which means basically, you don't need to be uh, watching the distractions that don't concern you, the news, politics, things that are outside your reality. Like I said, you only focus on where you live at, where you're at, because that's the only reality or sense that is happening. And the more and more you learn about timeline shifts, the more and more you realize that you are in control based on your personas. One need not swim against the constant tide of obstacles to realize the visions they hold. In fact, if this is the reality you are experiencing, it is time to stop and reevaluate the course you are following. A path fraught with constant obstacles is a sign it's time to shift to a new timeline where your chosen realities are happening. Basically means if you're following a guru or some kind of false prophet, it's time you realize that it's good to listen and learn from people, but you got to realize that you are in charge of your own timeline shift and your own story. You are in charge of that. Not entirely, but you are in charge of it. You're responsible for it. Any action or reaction you do, you are responsible for, and you will be judged accordingly because of that. Trying to change existing reality threads is a waste of time and resources. We have said you can't really change the nature of a particular reality thread. Now we will tell you why it is not in your best interest to even try and change a thread. It takes an incredible amount of life force, energy, and effect to try and change what is. We might liken this mindset to the person who buys a tall skyscraper so he can tear it down to build a car wash in its place. While this might be possible if one has unlimited time, energy, and resources, it is hardly worthwhile in the greater scheme of things. The universe always works in support of the simplest, most efficient course of action in every case. To go against the natural flow of the universe is depleting and out of harmony with one's higher purpose in the above case. The simpler course would be either to buy an existing car wash or build a new one on a vacant property. Basic meaning, don't worry about everybody else's intentions, because there is a main story that's taking place. You need to focus on you and learn about nature, stay within nature, learn how nature grows, how nature develops, take care of your temple, which is your body, and maintain your connection to your soul. As simple. There is a main story that's taking place, but if you maintain your temple and your soul, then you can strengthen your magnetic field and you'll be part of a main story. Basic meaning is, if you view like an RPG game, you're that character and you're moving that character. There's a bigger story that's taking shape, but if you maintain your character and stay alive, you'll be good to go. Very simple. Another analogy would be trying to get a movie theater to show a different movie from the one showing that evening, when all you need to do is go down the street where the movie you want to see is currently showing at another theater. Both of the stories have described sound absurd, Both the scenarios we have described sound absurd, yet people attempt to change reality all the time. If you could harness all the energy spent trying to change the existing storylines within reality threads, that energy would power the world. It's a huge waste of time, energy, and resources, and yet it's done all the time. Basic meaning is you feel like you're holding the whole world on your shoulders, and that's something you don't need to really be worrying about. Each soul has their own specific meaning in the main story. Trying to change an existing reality thread is like moving concrete around. Literally, once a reality is in existence, it is concrete, unmovable, unchangeable from an energetic perspective. Trying to change an existing reality thread will bind you more strongly than ever to the reality you are trying to change. If, for example, you are a writer who wants to become a best-selling novelist, sulking and limiting or I don't know what that word is, about missed opportunities. Writer's block, bad luck, and so on will only bind you to the reality thread of a down on your luck writer who aspires to become a successful novelist but never does. History is filled with examples of people trying unsuccessfully to change their present reality thread instead of simply shifting to a new reality thread. Basically means you're stuck in a multiple timelines, but you can't make up your mind. The same writer described above can choose instead to use the timeline shift method. Simply stalling his mind and scanning his field of potentials, magnetic field, to find the timeline where he is a best-selling novelist. Once he chooses this timeline, he listens within and remains alert from steps to take to more fully realize his timeline. A willingness to act is key to the timeline shift method. Our writer in question who makes the shift may find himself feeling drawn to take certain steps that could result in his meeting someone who is organizing a group of gifting writers who help spur him towards success, or he may meet someone who has a friend who is an editor, or any number of those synchronistic scenarios. Meaning, when you find a group, you get together with a group that share your similar timeline, likely your timeline shift is going to take place and you will experience that timeline. Synchronicities are just signposts showing us we are making the shifts we desire. Basic meaning is instant manifestation. If you're on the path that you desire, instant manifestation is going to take place. They tell us we are taking actions to shift towards the reality of your choosing. Mastery. I ain't gonna read that. Timeline shifts are an important component of spiritual mastery because they are based on the premise that one chooses one's reality rather than trying to change it. The master accepts that the desired reality threads already exist within its own location or zip code in consciousness. Basic meaning is there is no such thing as time, days, months, whatever. Everything is happening simultaneously. And you, as a timeline, if you get mastered at this, you can be a timeline jumper. And you can shift through timelines just like that. You can fix things, you can change things, you can alternate things. And each timeline or Earth, because each Earth that scientists discover, you're already a part of that Earth. Each thought creates a new Earth, and you can jump through each one, just like the TV series Sliders. It's the same time, like same year, time, dates, and stuff, but there's little things that change. Timeline shifts are important, blah, blah, blah. Mastery, consciousness leaves no room for doubt. In order to liberate oneself from doubt, one stands strong in the inner knowing that desired reality thread exists and can be activated. This doesn't mean one will always know how and when their desired realities will manifest. When one takes the steps to study and understand the workings and nature of the universe, one gains direct knowledge of how to manifest through timeline shift. This knowledge is based in experience of the inner planes, Knowledge of the inner planes combined with determination and spiritual alignment and the willingness to act is a powerful elixir that makes everything possible. Spiritual masters don't need guarantees. Those who need guarantees that everything will work out if they take certain actions are still acting from doubt. Doubt binds the realities where desired realities are beyond our reach. Faith has long been thought to be an asset in manifesting, and it is helpful in certain situations. However, as we enter this new time, when spiritual mastery is more attainable than ever before, we are asked to move beyond blind faith and beliefs in the place of inner knowing, which is why I've said time and time again. If you believe in something that you cannot see, it's blind faith. Therefore, you're following something you don't understand, and therefore it does not serve no purpose to you. Faith is based in hoping, asking for something, and neither asking nor hoping are the way of the spiritual master. Faith lacks doubt, leaves open the door that chosen realities may not manifest. The master steps forward into each new moment, knowing that we will persevere in confidence, determination, and allowing until their desired reality manifests. So, putting that all together, which is why this video is so long, is you are in charge of what you want to manifest. You are in charge of your magnetic field. You are in charge of your temple, and you are in charge of what you want to experience. You can't change everybody, and you can't change the way people view things. However, you can change your perception and your magnetic field. You want to keep your magnetic field strong, and you want to keep your physical body in healthy working order. So then there's not so much chaos that happens within your body. Where you get body aches. They call it ascension symptoms, but it's really just your earth template, your body template that is shifting and changing based on your changes within you and within your magnetic field. That's why you want to become one with Anu. You want to become one with Anu, with your magnetic field, and you want to become one with the Absolute energy that is within you. Like I said, watch my Anu Absolute energy, and it'll make sense. So you are one with the earth. You are connected to all the beings here that surround you. We are responsible. Each starseed here, each one of us, are responsible for how the magnetic field of the earth shifts and changes. And you are also responsible for your own being, which has its own magnetic field and physical template. So hopefully this video makes sense. A lot of information in this video. But you can unlock all the information the further you explore into what I talked about. Magnetic field is very important, as well as the earth. So I'll go ahead and end this video on this. If you're stuck with this video, awesome. That means you're willing to learn and willing to explore your realities and your timelines. And like I said, as you perceive, advance yourself, you'll realize that there isn't really even a year anymore. September to September is a good start. But once you master things, you want to get into the new moon, full moon, new moon cycle. So you realize that your perceived year happens in just 1 month. And then you'll break that down into a couple weeks, to a week, to just 1 day. 1 day is 1 year, whatever, and so on and so forth, until everything just stops. But that is way out there. So anyway, so September to September, again, is a repeated cycle. Twice, going through this twice now with perceived videos. I made 2 videos about this already. So just be aware of this. Be a part of the 9/11 a new time shift, because things are happening rapidly. So September to September, brand new year. What are you going to do? how are you going to write your story through this new paradigm, through this new timeline shift. So, like I said, just review the video again if you missed something. So, I love y'all very much. Love yourself, protect yourself, learn on how your magnetic field shifts you and changes you, and how everything in your physical vessel also shifts constantly. And you want to create that balance. Just like we said, there's three Earths that are forming right now: positive, negative, and then you. You are that rocket. You could view it as you need two rockets over here, your positive and negative, to boost you up. Okay, just like and how we send the rocket into space, right? The space shuttle. It needs an extra boost of energy above it, and it shoots it up, shoots it through the atmosphere, and then once you hit two out of Earth's orbit, they break off, and then you're in a whole new reality. You're into the universe. You broke that barrier, and that's what we have right now. That's why we have the three Earth shifts. You are in between. Now, you could end up being more positive. You could be more negative. But what happens is as Earth is going this way, the rockets are gonna shoot it up. But then those rockets that were the pedestal for you are gonna break off. So the perfect you, or the more balanced you, is going to keep going up this way. But if you're more positive and negative, you're going to go this way. And what's going to happen is that those two positive and negative rockets are going to flip themselves, and they're going to crash land back down to the source of where it started to begin with. And that's what you don't want. You don't want to implode yourself. You want your magnetic field to stay positive. Your Merkaba, your Merkaba. Is that rocket. You are that rocket, and you want to keep going this way. You want to be that middle. And that's what's being told. So anyways, that's it. I could keep going on. So I love y'all very much. Hashem loves you all, which is Hashem means the word. So yeah, so keep shining bright. Talk to you in a little bit.